In this video, we will reinstall the entire hook system back into this early model Singer 99. Let's get started. Quickly, let's run down the parts that you want to have handy. I'm just going to kind of go from left to right here. You're going to need the raising bar and hinge screw. This is the clamp and screw for the hook itself, which you will also need. You're going to need this little dog bone part that also has one little hinge screw that fits inside one of the holes on the end. These are clamping screws. There are 3 here. I'm going to show you a screw that I missed in the last video for the feed fork. So we'll just put all these clamping screws back in this video. This is the oscillating hook bell crank hinge screw. Very big, the only one this size on your machine. This is the bell crank itself. It's going to have a hinge screw that will be screwing into a part of it, and it goes in through this Pitman arm, which you will need, which will also have a little stubby screw that goes on the other end. So those are the parts you need. We're going to flip the machine over so we can start putting everything back together. So before I forget again, there are 3 of these clamping screws. They're all the same. Go ahead and take one if you didn't do it already and put it right here on the end of our feed fork. You don't want to tighten this down super tight, or you will not be able to get the movement that you need. Tighten it down to the point where it feels snug enough, and then turn your hand wheel, make sure that you still see movement in this part right here. Okay, moving on. The first thing that we'll want to reinstall is the raising bar and the hinge screw. And just check the little roller on the end of your raising bar and make sure that it actually spins for you. You definitely want it to spin. The way that the raising bar is going to go on is the roller is going to be going down and facing to the left. The hinge screw fits right inside the end, and if you cleaned everything up really nice, it should be really nice and smooth. I like to go ahead and just put a little bit of oil on the hinge screw first, and then you can put it right here is a little hole. That's where it's going to screw into. You should be able to see that right there. Now, before you start screwing this in, make sure that you have taken the roller from this part of the feed bar right here and slide this little U shape onto that roller first. And then you can go ahead and just get that screw started, and we're going to tighten it down. This one, it's okay to go ahead and tighten it down all the way now. So make sure you get it good and snug. There we go. And it should move really easily, no problems. Okay, the next step. So we want to do a little pre-assembly to this Pitman arm here with the bell crank. You're going to take your Pitman arm. Do you see how you have these portions that are bumped up? One side is flat, the other one's bumped up. Take the left side of your Pitman arm, slide the hinge screw in. Now you're going to take your bell crank, and there's a long arm and a short arm. With the long arm close to you, you're going to screw that hinge screw into the hole on the shorter arm, just like this. And you can go ahead and tighten that down. Nice and snug. When you do that, it should still turn. Now, go ahead also and put those little clamping screws, at least get them started. Don't tighten them down all the way, but at each of the holes on the end, get them started. And same for the other side. And you'll know if you have it too tight. If it were too tight, this wouldn't be able to turn. And then this little gap right here allows you to get a little bit of oil in here if you want. Okay, so you have kind of pre-assembled your Pitman arm now. Now what we can do is go ahead and you're going to slide your Pitman arm onto the machine. Let me show you. Do you see this little knob here on the end of the shaft sticking out here? Go ahead and do you see, remember, these bumped up portions of the Pitman face the bed of the machine. So you're just going to slide that Pitman arm on, and as you do that, you'll see this roller kind of come into place with the bell crank. So that roller on the end of the raising bar is now fitting into the groove that was on the bell crank. Once you have that all together, don't worry about putting this screw on yet. Go ahead and take your really long hinge screw, oil it, and it's going to slide up into this hole in the bottom of the bell crank. You may have to check it a little bit from the side to make sure that you've got your screw lined up with the hole in the machine, and then go ahead and tighten that down. This one can be nice and tight. You will not be able to wiggle it very easy this way per se. Check it by turning the hand wheel. Do you see that? It's all moving just like it should. So what do we do next? We're going to take the hook and oil that as well. We're not going to worry about the position of the hook right now. We don't have the needle bar in. We can't really set the timing of this. So we're going to slide it into the hole here from the top side. And if you've got it cleaned up really nice, it should just slide right in. And check to make sure that it can spin. Now you're going to take your clamp for your hook and you're going to slide that on with this little part right here sticking out towards you. Just slide it on any old which way. The screw hole to put the clamping screw in for this clamp is right here. So not that one, this one. So go ahead and put the clamping screw on for the hook and just make sure that the hook is pushed all the way down when you do this. We're not going to tighten it up too much because we have to set the timing of the hook later, but go ahead and tighten it down. And just make sure that the clamp is all the way against the machine and the hook is all the way down into the machine. Now, once you've clamped that down, when you rotate this, your hook should be rotating too. So just 2 more little parts and we're done. The little stubby screw goes back onto this end of the Pitman arm. Go ahead and tighten it down. Make sure that it's snug. And then we're going to just swing the bell crank up, this end of the bell crank. And do you see our little dog bone here? Mine has 2 oil ports, but do you see how it looks like an old-fashioned phone, right? You can pick it up, hello, put it so you're hanging up the phone, okay? So these little rounded points are pointing down, and you're gonna slide one end, the left end, onto the clamp for the hook, and then that last hinge screw we have is just going to screw right into the other end and into the bell crank itself, and tighten that down. There we go. Now we can check our work. Everything should be spinning really smoothly for you, nice and free. That's it. We have adjustments to make. We're not done messing around with the bottom end, but now the parts are back together and it's just a matter of adjusting some screws, setting the timing of the hook, and we can do that when we get some of the parts in the nose back in. So when we come back, we are going to pause. We're going to put our feed dogs in temporarily and make sure that they are positioned properly within the needle plate. Then we'll take them out and we'll focus on getting the thread take up and the needle bar back into the machine because we want to set the timing of our hook before we add any of the bobbin area parts. So that's what we'll do next in the next video. I look forward to seeing you then. Thank you so much for watching. Bye.